Welcome back to Start the Conversation. I am your host, Dalton, and in this podcast, we explore the real, raw, and remarkable stories of success and recovery, and try to give you some knowledge about the addiction world and about the treatment center that we're a part of, Hidden Oaks. So, if you like this podcast and discussions like these, if you like these stories of success, hit that comment, like, share, subscribe, do all the things. And we're hearing today from a man that's been on the show with us before, and he had a lot of good things and inspired a lot of people his first time on. So we're gonna see what's unfolded for him since the last time we spoke. So welcome back, Eric. It's good to have you on again.
It's good to be here.
All right, so we're going to start out with the journey since we spoke last. So, a simple but a powerful question. How have you been since we last talked 6 months ago?
I've been, I've chose to go to sober living, and at first it was a lot different than here. It was not as as nice accommodations as it was here, but I mean, for me, I kicked and screamed the first week or so, and staying in touch with you guys here, and with the encouragement that y'all gave me, I was able to overcome walls that ran into, and trusted the process. And for me, that was um, that was the thing that I needed to do, because after each wall, I found that I was growing, and I was doing. There was a big lesson in patience, and I I've done, I've gone to AA, and I've gotten sponsor, and doing real well at the sober living house. And now I'm free to move about and go where I want to, and be around the outside world. And it's to me, it was a longer runway, and it's worked out really well for me.
Nice, nice. So that gives us a little bit of perspective and a little bit of insight to what's changed over the past few months, getting into sober living, and then you know how long is it that you're kind of confined to just being there before you could get passes or
It was I had to go through a similar treatment plan as this, but we did it through Zoom. But you have to do 45 days of in-house, and you're kind of confined to that small space. And you have to go to AA meetings every night, which was good for me because it created a habit for me. Now that I've graduated from that, I guess it was PHP, and
mm-hmm.
then now I'm in IOP. I have the freedom to go work, and to if I need to go to the store, I can go to the store. It's just like I live in an apartment now, and it's so much better, and I feel very content where I'm at right now, which I didn't think would happen for sure. But it's definitely been the path that I needed to go in order to stay in the program, and dedicate myself to recovery for sure.
Nice, nice. Has there been any unexpected challenges that you've overcame recently?
Yeah, it's a matter of fact, I went to a friend of mine's this weekend, and there was drinking and carrying on, and I was able to stay sober, and look around and see people that drank, and it didn't phase me. I didn't feel like I was missing out on anything. Matter of fact, I felt like I mean, it felt very comforting not to be the drunkest one at the party,
Yeah.
and I was able to stay away from it, which I thought I was going to have some cravings or issues, and nothing like that came up, and I enjoyed myself. I really enjoyed myself. I kept my manners, and everything was perfect. It was something that I really was anxious to do, because I wanted to get in that atmosphere, to see how I felt.
To see
And
where you were
yeah,
at.
yeah, where I was at with my own self, and
Right.
being in that, I didn't have the the cravings or anything. It was pretty amazing. And I went with my two boys, and they were so proud of me, and even the friends that were drinking. It's to me, it's you can't remove it. Life goes on. You can't get that out of your life, and you just have to build the strength to know that that's not where you want to go. And that's definitely what I did, and it helps tremendously.
Right,
And
right.
I'm very proud of myself for that. Yeah,
Yeah, heck yeah, that's a milestone right there.
for
So was
sure.
that was the first time in 6 months that you've been around that type of atmosphere and people drinking? What do you think what do you think would have happened had it have been 3 months ago? You put yourself back in.
It would have been very, very difficult for me because I don't think that I was secure, or even I don't believe I had the ability to not see that I'm missing out on drinking, or that I'm missing out on smoking weed, or I just don't think that I had the strength, and as I think that everything that I've done up to this point has prepared me for the weekend I had. It's prepared me to be strong. And I was speaking with Laura earlier, and it's I love myself, and I like who I am, and I love myself, and that's the first time in 15 years, that I've ever felt that way. And to me, I don't want to put that in my body, anymore.
Yeah.
If it slows me down or hinders life at all, I don't want to have anything to do with it. I mean, life's hard enough to do sober, much less drunk.
Right. I was listening to one of my friends earlier say he's in recovery. He said, it's took me this long to get my brain back healthy and right and
Yeah.
thinking the way I am. Why would I want to change that and go backwards?
Yeah, and sobriety is almost, to me, it feels like a drug itself, because I mean, I feel, I'm 54 years old, but I feel like I'm 40. I
Yeah.
feel like I've gotten my mind back. My mind's quick. I'm witty, and people seem to like me a lot more, and I just like who I've become, and I'm on a kind of a natural high, of feeling normal, because for so long in my life I've had alcohol or
Hmm.
drugs in my life that's just made me feel, you know, I had inferior problems. I felt inferior, I felt inadequate and unable to do things. And now I feel like if I try hard enough, I can do anything,
Yeah.
and this was a big, big step for me.
Good, man. That's awesome. That's a big step for anybody.
Yes, sir.
We were talking about earlier before the podcast how, you know, 6 months ago you were in a hospital bed.
Mm.
On your last podcast you did with us while you were here. You said, you didn't know where you were. You thought somebody had you locked in a shed on
Yeah,
their property.
yeah,
And you were intubated, and you were close to the end, my friend.
yeah,
And just to see you now is I'm looking at a totally different man.
right,
Somebody that is hopeful, somebody that's got their swagger back, and somebody that's confident. You walked in here today with your head held high. That wasn't you 6 months ago. You
no,
were you were utterly defeated.
right,
Um, but man, it goes to show that, hey, the stuff we're talking about, it's real and it
yeah,
works. Recovery works if you work it.
yeah.
Just following the process. What you
I,
got?
I think that, for me, it was, once I realized that, you have to slow down, you have to trust the process. Things aren't going to happen overnight. You're not going to get out and have the nice cars and the home and have a regular life when you get out. And to me, I started being very happy with the small things that I was accomplishing, in my life, getting insurance, or getting my license renewed and things like that, or just being able to go to the grocery store and shop for groceries. And believe it or not, I've not done that, and to be able to do that, to food prep for the week, it's kind of crazy, but it's the small things are what I notice now, and I'm very, very proud of myself for making those small steps. And now that I'm living my life in a way that's acceptable, good things seem to happen every day. You know, every day I have a blessing happen. You know, and I'm so grateful.
Is there a mantra or a quote that has helped you stay focused during the last, what would
Yeah,
that be?
it would be change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. You know, I mean, I think that if you look at it, you wake up and you decide you're going to be in a bad mood. You know, if you or you know, I think even you said it. You know, my leg hurts today. Well, at least I have a leg to hurt. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
and that I get to have a leg that hurts. I get to have the opportunity to find a job. I get to do things that are uncomfortable. I get to do it. I get to do laundry. I get to do the little simple things. I mean, believe it or not, that's those things are. It's really awesome to have those little bitty accomplishments build up, and I just really I have changed the way I look at things and look at it as an opportunity rather than something that can defeat me,
Yeah.
which was so easily done when I was drinking. I just said I don't want, it's not a big deal. I don't want to do it, and now I look at it as, if I don't have a challenge every day, I don't feel like I've accomplished anything, I
Right.
always try to push myself now, and it's working.
Yeah. So what's a good day look like for Eric? What's a good day to you?
Well, I get up and I do my gratitudes, and first thing I think of is what I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for the little small things, and I do that. I've never been on computers. I'm starting to mess around with computers a little bit, which is crazy, but um, just this, and then I get to go to AA meetings, and I look forward to that. I even look forward to doing AA online. I go online, I go to UK or I go to LA,
Yeah.
and get to do that with those people, and I see a lot of different people. And it's the one thing nice for me is that when I got out, I was worried that where am I going to find somebody that doesn't drink, or where am I going to find something. And when I went to AA, because I was here, I this place opened my mind up and said, okay, I've made bad decisions in my life in the past, and now it's time to listen. And now that I've opened my mind up and listened, I went to AA, and that keeps me in my recovery. And with that, working the steps, truly working them, um, has helped me stay in the programs, and just the way of life to live and to be kind and to be the best that I can be every day. Do something different and challenging every day, and it keeps life interesting and it keeps me growing.
Yeah. It's awesome, man.
Yeah. It is a miracle. I mean,
No doubt.
I
100%.
yeah. I mean, I truly, I've heard that word over and over in my life, but I believe that I received a gift of sobriety, and I don't want to change it. I don't.
Amen. Amen. Last thing, bit of advice. So there's somebody listening to this podcast right now that's thinking about getting into recovery, or they're just starting down the recovery path. What advice do you have for that person?
My first advice would be come to Hidden Oaks for sure, and then to open your mind up and to trust the process. The process is slow, but it took you 15, 20 years to get where you are now, and it's not going to change overnight. And be proud of the little things in life that, with this opportunity, I've been able to slow down, and what do they say? Slow down and smell, or, stop and smell the roses. That's truly what you get to do. And you start appreciating the small things, and
Yeah.
the small things lead to big things. And um, I just really think that if you open your mind and you trust the process, that's one of the biggest things that I've done that's helped me through this whole journey of recovery. And I would recommend investing in yourself because you're worth it for sure. I mean, I feel I never thought I'd say I'd love myself, and I like myself. I like who I am today. It's a
Amen.
wonderful feeling.
Amen. Well, Eric, thank you for your honesty, your strength, your voice. I know this podcast, just like the last one, is gonna touch somebody and give somebody the strength and hope that they need. So thank you for being willing to come on here today. And to our listeners, if you or someone you love is struggling, reach out to us. 469-614-8407. You can go to resolutionshealthcare.com and read our blog, see our podcast, know what you're getting into. But reach out to us if you or someone you know needs help. We're here and we want to help you. All right. The path to recovery runs through Hidden Oaks. So we'll see you on the next one.